Hello everybody! Finally, I'm recording another video. It's been too long since I've played this game. However, that doesn't mean I don't remember what's happened so far. In the last video, if I recall correctly, we spent a lot of time in the library reading an obscene amount of books. So, let me just scoot closer. Okay, now that I've scooted closer, we read a lot of books, and then we went to Daffodil Lane due to what was going on with our lovely dear who, is convinced she is the King in Yellow's heir. Still not sure about that one, but you know, we'll find out, I'm sure. And then we ran into Parsnip in Daffodil Lane. Big surprise, I know. We had like we had a picnic, and it was actually good, and everything went well, and it didn't go terribly, which is a bit of a shocker. If you hear any background noise, my cat has the zoomies. With that being said, let us continue. He got a pitcher of water out of the basket. Somehow it hadn't spilled inside, despite being sideways and having no lid, possibly defying the laws of physics. He poured the water into a pair of plastic cups and handed me a red one. I thanked him and took a sip. The water was surprisingly nice and very cold. I thought this might turn out to be nice after all, a thought I'd soon come to regret. At this point, Parsnip got a bag of Sugar Daddy icing sugar out of his hamper and poured a good 100 grams into his cup. The sugar partially dissolved into the water, but most of it settled at the bottom of the cup. I grimaced at the thought of drinking it. "Would you like some sugar?" No, that's okay, Parsnip. Thanks for the offer. Then try some cake. I looked at the cupcakes. There were about 10 on a shared plate. They had different colored icing and decorations. They looked pretty nice, if a little sickly. That said, something about them felt off. Well, in the last game, everyone died after they ate his cake. So, I'm gonna say that, we're full. We're absolutely stuffed. Oh no, I just realized. I have a disease. I can't eat food. Oh no! When I'm sick, I just eat more sugar. It's a natural remedy. Sorry, bud. I have food disease. If I eat food, I'll die. It's just one of those things. Oh no! Well, maybe when you get better from dying, you can try some. Parsnip was more dense than I realized. Well, keep that in mind, Parsnip. Maybe I'll have some in the future. Yeah, you can watch me eat. Oh, jeez, I thought. I watched Parsnip start to nibble tiny bits off the other cakes and then put them back on the shared plate. He didn't seem to have taken in anything I had said. He would cycle through the cakes, eating only little bits of each at a time. Occasionally, he would take a sip of sugar water by clumsily holding the plastic cup between his big paws, usually spilling some of the sticky water on himself. He didn't seem to mind. I watched Parsnip nibble on his food in silence until he finished, at which point he fell over backwards to sleep. Good night, Parsnip. Something was bothering me about Parsnip. He felt fundamentally wrong. I looked down at Parsnip once more. The rabbit's strange mannerisms and aura filled me with discomfort. I remember when I first met Parsnip, he had appeared from nowhere, as if summoned to me from the void. I had asked him about the King in Yellow. There had been no denial, merely a gleeful cry of, "Wow, I love yellow! Oh wow, it's my favorite color!" I broke out into a sweat. A confession. I knew it. I'd been being toyed with all along. That cursed string Parsnip had given me all those days ago. I pulled it out of my bag and threaded it through itself into an intricate but all too familiar shape. The yellow sign. This was a gift to me from the king. Or perhaps a warning. Maybe a curse. I shuddered in fear and quickly pushed the terrible sign back into my bag. I would have to think about this further. I buried the thoughts in my mind. I snuck away, only to run straight into LaRose. Fuck, how long have you been here? We need to talk. It was an incredibly ominous conversation starter. Okay. Here? I peered down at the snoozing parsnip. Judging by his sniffing nose and munching noises, he was dreaming about food. My place. She started walking off. It sounded serious. LaRose! I silently followed LaRose to her cottage. Things felt really intense. Did she know I knew about Parsnip? So, Parsnip has given you one of those strings, too, then. How long had she been watching us? Wait, is that what this is about? Kind of. There was a long silence while my brain tried to process things. It's just, you seemed pretty intense. I was kind of worried. I mean, well, it is important. A bit. The yawn. Do you have one as well? I have at least 20. When I woke up this morning, there were 3 poking through my letterbox. I was concerned for her. To receive one of the cursed gifts from the King in Yellow was bad enough, but 20? LaRose seemed to live in blissful ignorance of their true evil, at least. I decided it was kinder to let her stay that way. I don't think these yarn pieces are, signs of evil. I'm considering using them to tie a makeshift noose. Wait, was that a joke? Sure. So far, all I've been able to do is hoover them up and burn the bags. Like my students, Parsnip is not receptive of criticism. So anyway, I wanted to ask for your help. I really need to get rid of Parsnip. So I was wondering, are you trying to get me to kill Parsnip? He's weird, sure, but that's a little much, don't you think? What? No, don't be ridiculous. No. I was just going to, ask if you'd, I don't know, throw him in the bush and tell him to leave me alone. I stared at LaRose, slightly dumbfounded. You want me to assault him? What? I continued to stare at her dumbfounded. Not badly. You've spoken to him, right? Just push him into a bush really carefully and be like, hey, leave LaRose alone or the boys will get you. And that should be enough to spook him. Are you okay? I'm fine. Look, living next door to Parsnip is slowly killing me. I used to drink 30, maybe 40 units of alcohol a day. Now I'm up to maybe 60. Look, we'll just give it a go. I can't live like this much longer. Sip my hot cocoa. I feel like I'm pretty sure Parsnip will just take it as a joke. And LaRose needs help. I don't want her to hate me. I don't really want to be on his bad side. I don't trust it. Sorry, LaRose. I'm not going to push your neighbor into a bush. He'll get bored soon, I'm sure. Well, I'm disappointed. She sighed. Well, thanks anyway. I better get painting. I'll see you around. I felt a little bad abandoning La Rose to her fate, but pushing Parsnip over seemed a little too mean even for my morally bankrupt self. Or perhaps I feared him. I was still trying to process his connection to Carcosa. The King in Yellow. I decided I'd been fucking around for too long and reluctantly got on with my business. I stood in front of the abandoned cottage. The gateway to Carcosa. I needed to make sure Nikita hadn't done anything here. This cottage might be the only place I could stop her. The upstairs seemed pretty much as I'd left it. I knew I was going to have to go downstairs. Not a fun thought. Memories of my last visit still swam in my mind of fuzz. It was time to accept my fate and return to the basement, where this all started. The skulls sat in the same position as before. I almost started to believe I really had imagined them speaking to me. But before I could step any further into the room, they snapped around to face me, and my heart sunk as I realized returning here was a mistake. Another guest. The little rat returns. Hello, friend. I was frozen, whether by shock or by the ghost's design, I don't know. Please, I'm not here to bother. Your friend, yes. The deer was here, searching for a gate she found. Already present, the yellow sign. Creator, I am. Forever, never to be removed, no matter how much I tear at its paint. The gate is present. It needs only a key. No more preparations are needed. Only the moonlight of a full moon, if what the deer says is true. A believable claim, for I too require tonight's white light. Reunite broken body no more. If the deer speaks true, then endless ashen terrors crawling forth from the lake. The rapt pointed fingers of the king leading them. The decay will spread the rot. Then I was too late to prevent Nikita performing her ritual. It would be up to me in person. A battle I would probably lose. I spent a lot of my time studying the moon. It was pretty important to a lot of myths, especially around here. I knew very well that the next full moon was tomorrow. Okay, well that's all I need to know. So I'll just be out of your scalp bone. Leave, return, it is not important. This hovel is tainted. Unclean. I have no further use for it. I shall not be present for this evil. You be wise to leave, little rat, before the ritual is performed. Farewell, little one. The ghost was leaving? Why? Not that I cared, as long as it was out of my life. Ooh. The skulls shattered into dust. Any evidence of their existence turned to a fine bone powder that joined the spores and dust in their toxic dance. I was thrown to the ground as the gold mist floated out of the basement like snow in a breeze. I climbed to my feet, my head ringing. I must have hit it when I fell. I made my way outside and caught my breath. My phone buzzed. It was Belle. Hey, Trix. Up for an outing? I'm bored. Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of busy and, I have stuff to do, so... Oh. Okay. See you someone else, hon. She sounded disappointed. Belle seemed really desperate for company. Felt like I should go deal with Nikita, but I realized there isn't anything I could do to prepare. I was exhausted and could barely think. All I could do was wait for tonight. The full moon. I decided no matter what, I should go hang out. It might be my last chance after all. Actually, I should be okay. I'm not as busy as I thought, so if you want, I can hang out. No worries, hon. Want to visit that birdhouse in the woods you were out about before? If you mean the bird settlement, sure. It'll be nice to go somewhere not creepy. That lake still makes me feel weird. Okay, how about we meet at Heidi's in about an hour? I need to pick up some magazines. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Smiley face. I was glad to have an excuse to get away from the abandoned cottage. Partly because it unnerved me, and partly because I was worried Nikita might turn up at any minute. I didn't want her to know I was still trying to stop her. I was worried that my slow little legs would make me late, and that I'd find Belle's skeleton waiting for me outside the shop. Alright, Trixie. Looks like you're just in time. I'll only be a minute. I just need to grab one of my big girl magazines. She means porn. That's okay. I can buy some sweets or something. What's up, fucker? What do you want? Magazines, bitch. They high-fived. It was really weird. I don't really get Belle and Heidi's relationship. I guess it's too cool for me to really understand. I'm here too, again. I waved awkwardly. Hey, Trixie. Nice to see you. Where are you two off to today? Caca Tree, the old bird settlement in the woods. I'm into that kind of nerdy stuff. You want to come along, Heidi? Plenty of room in the milk float. Sorry, Belle. I'm pretty busy right now. I've got some stuff to move. She motioned over to the pile of boxes on the counter. They looked like they were full of old antiques and books, but what really caught my eye was a strange white mask. Besides, I ended up in a scrap last night with someone wearing a box on their head. I won, obviously. I hurt my leg pretty bad when I tackled him, though, so I'm not really up for any outings. Heck, sounds nasty. Did you catch him? Nah, they were pretty small and hyperactive. Greg? Greg? They managed to get away, albeit empty-handed. That sounds pretty scary. I'm used to it. I've gotten into a lot of fights in my time. And won all of them. Heidi is pretty scary. But in kind of a good way. Say, Heidi, your magazines are all mixed up. I can't find milk jugs anywhere. Huh. So you're right. Let's take a look. The pair started ratting through the magazines in search of Belle's filth. Art? I believe it's pronounced art. My attention was drawn to the stuff Heidi was moving. In particular, the strange white mask. It seemed familiar somehow. I wanted to get a closer look, but I really didn't want to risk Heidi's ire. Fuck it. I recalled the description of the mask described in Wilhelm's notes I had read the day before. I picked up the cold, fine china mask and almost gasped as my eyes looked upon the mask of the pale servant. How had Heidi gotten hold of it? Did they know the dark origin of the mask? No matter. It was mine now. Nikita was not the heir to the broken throne. I was. What? Excuse me? Excuse me? What's going on with Miguel? Trixie? Trixie, you good? I shook my head, almost in tears. I could not do it. I wasn't Nikita. I didn't have the will or the intelligence to rule the rotten city. This mask had to be destroyed. But first, I needed to show Nikita she was deluded. I slipped it into my bag, my hands shaking in fear at my discovery, and the thought that Heidi might have seen me. Fortunately, she was still distracted by Belle. I realized the mask couldn't have been Heidi's. It must have been put there for me. I was saving her by taking it. Belle managed to get a hold of her magazine, and I totally forgot to buy any sweets. Well, anyway, we better get going. We got a pretty long drive, and it's already getting late. Okay, you two have fun without me again. Bye, Heidi. I don't like how Nikita's talking. Actually. Hey, Trix, mind if we stop by La Rosa's for a bit? I haven't seen her for a while, so... She better not be dead. I haven't seen her for a while, so we may as well say hi on the way, right? I didn't mind. I just hope it wouldn't be too awkward after declining LaRose's special request earlier. Sure, Belle. I don't mind. I kinda wish Belle had let me know about that before I walked all the way here. Though at least now I had the mask. Perhaps my only chance to stop Nikita. LaRose was lazing around in her deck chair. Hey, LaRose. How are things? Belle, I didn't expect to see you here. I'm just taking a break from marking homework. Not lazing around doing nothing all day. She glanced at me, and I waved awkwardly. I didn't realize you knew Trixie. Sure do. We're heading to some bird tree in the woods. It's an educational thing. You're more than welcome to come along, LaRose. The more the merrier, right? No. I have a lot to do here. Like... She trailed off and kind of gestured randomly into the ether. Looked like Belle was about to reassure her, but LaRose cut her off. Crap. Hey, Bill. I just remembered. That piece of shit drone didn't deliver my milk today. That fucking bird killed it when it got too close to its tree. I could maybe steal some milk off of you? I glanced over to the tree. As normal, the strange magpie was nowhere to be seen, though I could feel it watching me from somewhere. Heck, sure you can, babe. I've got some bottles left over. Hey, you can have a few. I don't care about this job anymore. LaRose laughed. It was odd. I've never heard that before. When did you? Belle handed Rose 2 bottles and reached for a third. Good point. As Belle passed LaRose the bottle, her hooves lost grip. Belle's clumsy hooves desperately tried to grab the bottle as it tumbled through the air like a very heavy, transparent, and milky blue poppy petal. As the milk shattered on the floor with a loud smash, Belle and LaRose tensed up in fear. I was about to ask why they were making such a big deal out of it, given that Belle dropped at least a third of her bottles when... Hi, Belle. Thanks for visiting. I have some milk questions for you. We swung our heads around to the wheat field. At the top of the hill, maybe 200 meters away, we could see Parsnip's silhouette. His large glasses were masked in sunlight, but I could feel his eyes drilling into us with terrifying intensity. Fuck. Parsnip disappeared back into the long wheat and started to sprint towards us, cutting through the crop like an annoying knife. Ah, heck, it's Parsnip. I shuddered. I didn't want to run in with Parsnip now that I knew what he really was. I felt the gaze of the yellow sign burning into my back from my bag and started to nervously fidget. Yeah, maybe we should go soon. It's getting kind of late. Belle looked at me. I could tell she knew I was anxious, but I know there's no way she would truly understand why. Despite the hardship we both faced later that day, I still envy her for never looking upon that ghastly sign. Sorry, LaRose. We better get going before he starts interrogating me about milk for the next week. Wait, kid? I thought Parsnip was like 20. I assumed he was some kind of immortal, ageless woodland spirit, created solely to piss me off. Belle's eyes flicked over to Parsnip. He was getting dangerously close. We better get going, sorry, LaRose, bye! Belle jumped into her float and beckoned for me to follow. I happily obliged and got on board. Bye, LaRose? She was already gone. Her curtains shut. Belle tried to start the engine, but it kept stalling. Hi, Belle. Have you got any new kinds of milk today? Does backwards milk exist? Should it... It would be so exciting. Belle gritted her teeth and managed to finally get the engine going. The milk float sped off as Parsnip continued his speech behind us, growing quieter and quieter with every driving law we broke. Hey, Belle, how do you know LaRose? Is she a milk customer? Well,
We were in a relationship kind of thing for a while. It didn't end badly or anything, it just sort of stopped, I guess. Rose is having a tough time with her depression recently and needs space. I don't want to push her, you know? I don't know. Maybe I should reach out to her. Yeah, I'll try to get her outside next week. She's a good friend, and I want to make sure she's doing okay.
Oh, sorry, Belle. I hope she's okay. She seems nice. Even if she was into assaulting neighbors, although doubtless Parsnip deserved it for his evil acts. Long story short, the museum was shut due to the heat. Apparently the reenactors kept feigning because they refused to take off their replica armor. I had managed to pick up a leaflet when I was there. I guess that was almost the same thing as getting to see the actual thing. Caca Breachery, Visitor's Guide. Similar to most temperature bird settlements, the tree-top buildings of Caca Breachery were constructed using sticks tied together with grass and vines. Several of these buildings have survived to this day. Amazingly, several ancient bird writings also survived. Local archaeologist Penny Splimpton discovered numerous complete and damaged rune weavings in the nearby Dartbourne Cave. These weavings are fairly standard, with large twigs forming runes in a grass-weaved tapestry, but their completeness and preservation is outstanding. These weavings primarily talk of the same ancient bird myths many from the era cover. Primarily the star gods, an ancient legend of fantastical beings which supposedly ruled the world long ago and perished in a battle in the skies above Rosefield against a great evil, leaving the world to us today. The dense woods and remote location of the settlement have shielded it from the elements and vandalism over the years. The settlement center in particular is remarkably well preserved, with a communal nest and walkways high in the trees, where bird elders would once have met and run the settlement. On a lower branch, seemingly fallen from its original height, is the leftovers of a bird armory. Several small wooden helmets and beak extensions remain. 5 smaller personal nests also surround the central hub in various states of decline. One still has a small personal shrine to an ancient wood spirit in it, an exciting look into the day-to-day life long ago. It is unknown when the settlement was abandoned, but it was likely during the Dark Age, when it was common for entire bird societies to uproot and migrate to lands where food was more readily available. I was about to comment on how everything in this county seemed to be way more mysterious than it should be when I spotted a flash of movement in front of us. Something huge pounced into the road. Its white long teeth shined in the dark as it scuttled into the undergrowth opposite, its woolly body and horns disappearing into the darkness. Belle yelled and swerved to avoid it, and before either of us could react, the milk float was tumbling through the woods, straight towards a cliffside.